This is JoyNews Prime. Thank you for staying. Now the news in detail. The National Executive Council of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana, CLOGSAG, has rejected the Minister of Labour, Jobs and Employment's request to end the ongoing strike. CLOGSAG had stayed away from work earlier this week, asking government to terminate the appointment of Samuel Adumbotwe as Births and Deaths Registrar. Stephen Mensah tells us more from a CLOGSAG NEC meeting.
Thanks to a strike by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG is protesting the appointment of Samuel Adumbotwe as Registrar of the Births and Deaths Registry, citing political exposure. There have been calls from the general public for CLOGSAG to return to work, a plea made stronger by the Employment Minister, Dr. Rashid Pelpo. Executive Secretary of CLOGSAG, Isaac Bampoado, has reaffirmed the association's stand to continue the strike until their concerns are addressed by the government. He indicates that the directive from the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations lacks a clear roadmap.
We are not challenging the authority of the president in appointing persons into the civil service and local government service. Article 195 of the Constitution is very clear that persons to be appointed or in acting positions is by the president in accordance with the advice of the council in consultation with the Public Services Commission. What was read from the Births and Deaths Registration Act was picked from the Constitution, 195 of the Constitution. It was nothing new. But we would have loved if Felix Kwachi should have gone further to tell us that which council gave advice to the president to appoint. Because the Constitution is saying in accordance with the advice of the council. But we all know that immediately this government came into power, all councils have been dissolved. So you should tell us which council met to advise the president on this appointment. But that is not what we are talking about. We have a Supreme Court ruling that is saying that if you are politically colored, stay away from the civil service and the local government service. That is what we are talking about. And the question is he politically colored? Yes. If the answer is yes, the Constitution is saying, the Supreme Court ruling is saying that step aside. Once you are politically colored, step aside. Step aside. So tell Mr. Botry, step aside for Births and Deaths. Births and Deaths is a civil service institution.
On the subject of the competence of Samuel Adumbotwe, Mr. Bampoado said they are more reliable civil servants capable of handling and managing the Births and Deaths Registry.
He never told us his qualifications. Tell us what are his qualifications. He never told us. Some of these people are there, they have PhD. And then you go and walk to political corridor. And then they come. And then you come and sit on us. You don't know anything. We are in Ghana. Which civil registration outfit has he worked? Tell us. You should tell us. If we have population council, we have statistics. Where has he worked? Apart from all times that he was a DC.
It remains to be seen how all this will play out. For JoyNews, Stephen Mensah.
In other stories, residents of Kukwazugu, a suburb of Walewale in the northeast region, say they are living in fear after military personnel deployed in the town to enforce a dawn-to-dusk curfew raided a private residence of a sub-chief in the community. Now, JoyNews checks show significant destruction to personal belongings, with residents asking the government to lift the curfew and recall the soldiers. Let's speak to my colleague Ilyasu Tanko. He joins us with more details. Ilyasu, thank you for joining the conversation. Now, we understand residents want the curfew to be lifted. Exactly how is it affecting their lives?
As we understand, is affecting every facet of life in Walewale. As we speak, the curfew is in full force. And you can see me joining you live from my living room here in Walewale. The concern again is that the residents are saying that even though there's curfew imposed on them, the road that goes through Walewale is very active, and vehicles are still plying this particular road, which is a major concern to them. Again, they are saying that anytime the travelers arrive in the community, they are stopped. They arrive in the community, the military forces give them option either to receive beatings or allegedly pay some money before they are allowed to go to their homes.
Interesting. And we have to continue the conversation after the report that you found. Let's take a look at that and then we'll come back to you.
5:45 Thursday evening, around 30 soldiers armed with rifles and 3 combat vehicles stormed CLOGSAG, a suburb of Walewale, and raided the private residence of a sub-chief. Abdul-Martin Mohammed is a tenant of the house the soldiers reportedly invaded.
I was in the house, inside my room, with some other 3 women. My wife, the landlord's wife, and one of their friends who came to visit them. So I was coming out with a friend who was outside here waiting for me. All of a sudden, some military men invaded.
The house was surrounded by the soldiers before some of them entered and started tearing down doors and windows and destroying properties in the rooms.
They did not even greet. They went ahead and asked me about whereabouts of my landlord, who happens to be a chief. I said, I don't know where he is. They broke all the keys to the rooms, had access to those rooms, broke the ceilings and everything. I think it was only this store, which is going to be a drugstore. That's the signboard over there. It was only that store that they didn't have access to.
As you can see, the destruction over there, this is the ceiling of the room that has, according to the residents here, was destroyed by the military men. They themselves climbed up onto the ceiling and caused this destruction you are just seeing. And not only this particular destruction that was caused by the military men. So this is another room, another destruction that we're just showing you. All these cooking utensils strewn around this veranda, as we understand, learning from the residents here, was caused by the military men. You can see that there's a chair. We understand the chair was cut open with a sharp object believed to be a knife. We do not know exactly what the military men were looking for. The military invasion has left widespread fears in the Walewale neighborhood and forced some residents to consider temporarily evacuating the area to live with family and friends in other areas in the West Mamprese municipal capital town. The situation has also slowed socioeconomic activities in the area as most residents have refused to operate their shops and local businesses. It is still unclear the reason for the military action, and JoyNews Check revealed this was the 4th of such incidents to be recorded in the last 1 week since the government of President Mahama imposed a dawn-to-dusk curfew on Walewale, which the Member of Parliament, Dr. Tia Kabiru Mahama, described as politically motivated. The government announced a curfew on Walewale and about 5 localities along the Nasia-Bolaga Road, including Wulugu, following violent reprisals on Tamale-Bolaga Road against commercial vehicles belonging to certain individuals or heading to Boko. However, since the arrival of the security forces in Walewale, the once bustling, peaceful business town is being reduced to a besieged and isolated community filled with chaos, with daily reports of military brutalities and harassment. Some residents even suggested the soldiers were handpicked from a particular tribe and deployed in Walewale to target the residents without exceptions.
I was not happy. I was feeling so threatened because we were having a pregnant woman with us that like she almost urinated. Even some of them who ran diarrhea by force because the way or manner they invaded us.
The overlord of Mampregu has therefore admonished the government to either review or lift altogether the curfew, which he said was hurting socio-economic ventures and disrupting normal living in Walewale and its immediate environs.
His desire is that the curfew should be lifted as soon as possible because it is causing hardships among the people of Walewale and its environs. And to solve the injury, that there are vehicles which pass through the community during the curfew hours. And inhabitants of Walewale who happen to be in the vehicles are dropped in the middle of the town and asked to go home. It's alleged that when the security people see them, they give them the option of either paying to go home or get a beating if they fail to pay.
Ilyasu Tanko reporting from Walewale for Joy News.
Well, Ilyasu Tanko is still with us. Ilyasu, your report details the dire situation that residents are living under this curfew. Is there any latest updates? Have you heard anything at all from the leaders as you speak?
Well, there have not been any comment from the leaders except the earlier comment that they have made, pleading with the government to do something about the Walewale situation. As we speak, Walewale is very silent. Everybody is currently indoors. People are very, very apprehensive, and the inhabitants themselves, because this is a very, very much apprehensive, especially to ensure that the curfew is lifted for socio-economic activities to begin in the community.
Ilyasu Tanko, thank you so much. That is our Northeast Regional Correspondent bringing us updates in terms of how residents are faring under that dawn to dusk curfew. Now, in other stories, the Gender Ministry is actively working towards implementing existing laws meant to take children off the streets. Highlighting her agenda for the ministry during a media engagement, Sector Minister Agnes Namumulate also noted all 16 regions in the country would have shelters to accommodate abused women while facilitating rapid responses to their issues.
Issues around gender equality, so social protection, you know that the social protection bill is yet to become an act. All of the things that we want to do around or on social protection, there's a need to have the backing of the law, and so that it is grounded, and then it doesn't get treated as a privilege, but it gets treated as a matter of right. And so one of the key things this ministry will be championing is making sure that the social protection bill is passed into law. And then we start working around getting it, social protection bill is passed into law, and then we make sure that it is activated. You know the challenge we have with the many laws we have. Most of them are there, but the implementation becomes an issue or a huge challenge. And so we are going to make sure that we rally around the issues that bothers us. And so as part of the manifesto promise of this administration, we are going to build shelters. It's a promise, 16 shelters in 16 regions. And so very soon you'll see us on the ground cutting sword and ensuring that that is realized. It is one of the key processes to ensure that issues of abuse are rapidly responded to, so that the victims are first protected, and then we look at how to handle or deal with the perpetrators.
You're watching JoyNews Prime with me, Sweetie Abochi. We'll take a quick break. We'll return with more news stories. Please stay. Thank you for staying. This is still JoyNews Prime with me, Sweetie Abochi. Moving on with other stories, stakeholders in Ghana's northern regions are advocating for a framework to guide religious practice and observances in schools in the country. They say a viable roadmap is needed to alleviate tensions and promote inclusivity, particularly after incidents where students were denied admission based on their religion. Now, Northern Region's Martina Bugri has the rest of the story.
A recent forum organized by the Sino Institute brought together education authorities, including school heads and directors from the northern, northeast, and savannah regions. The event was on the theme The Need for Cross-Cultural Religious Literacy Training in Second Cycle Schools. Speaking to Joy News, Professor John Azuma, Executive Director of the Sani Institute, said finding a middle ground is crucial to diffusing tension arising from religious differences.
Because of the recent past, we've had tensions in schools where students were denied admission because they are from one religious background or the other. And these were mainly mission schools, or they were not allowed to use the veil in school, or they were not allowed to practice their religion, or they were compelled to practice another religion that is not of their own in school. And all of these things were creating tensions in the country. So we decided that we would rather do some research into what is actually happening. What are the policies in place in these schools? What is it that the students are actually going through? What are the school authorities doing about these things? And that is why we did that. We want to come up with a sustained approach, hopefully come up with a policy at the end, guidelines that will provide a framework for religious observances and practices in the schools. We had an instance where some of the students told us, these were Muslim students, that they were compelled to attend deliverance services in school. And they had never seen it before, and they were traumatized at the end of the day. And some of them, it took them weeks to recover from that trauma.
The Director for Cultural and Religious Affairs at the Islamic University College, Mohammed Mujib, stressed the importance of accepting students from diverse religious backgrounds in their schools.
We need to have people have an understanding of their own religion and the religion of the other as well. We can't run away from the fact that Ghana is a religiously pluralistic society. We can't run away from that. And given that this is a religiously pluralistic society, so it is up to us, the missionary schools, Islamic missionary schools, Christian missionary schools, to come to the realization that we will not be able to eliminate Muslims from our communities entirely. They will be there no matter what we do. We cannot eliminate Christians from our communities, from our schools, no matter what. They will be there. Either willingly or circumstances will bring them there. Now it is up to us to look within our religious scriptures and doctrines. How can we accommodate people of the other religion?
Headmistress of the Gambaga Senior High School, Linda Tomderi, called for collaboration between the Ghana Education Service and the faith-based schools to promote understanding and peaceful coexistence.
I think then we need to have a collaboration between Ghana Education Service and between the religious bodies, that is the school, the faith-based schools. If there's a collaboration, then we can get there.
Vice-Chancellor of the Ghana Communication Technology University is asking newly admitted students to eschew laziness and strive for excellence in their quest to make Ghana and their lives better. Speaking at a matriculation ceremony, Professor Emmanuel Afenyo-Markin asked the students to explore and build relationships that will last a lifetime. Professor Afenyo-Markin also indicated that the GCTU will continue to embark on the total development of its students by enhancing their knowledge and skills, linking practical industrial attachments with leadership skills to develop their professional and entrepreneurial abilities. Here's more.
We're excited, and we are going to groom them to be transformed into techpreneurs, entrepreneurs, scientists, engineers, and businessmen and women for the growth of this great university. We as an institution have been mandated by law to be the university of call when it comes to the training of the human capital needs in the area of ICT for Ghana. So we have the capacity, the skills and expertise that are required for the training of our students. And we are very excited about the fact that we have well-advanced facilities in place for this training. And as you can see, a lot of construction work is also ongoing for the completion of an 8-story building that is auditorium, lecture rooms, and offices. and there's another 7 story that is also ongoing. And within a year, we're going to complete all these structures to provide much more academic and residential facilities for our students. So we welcome them, we train them, and then transform them to the aspects that they so much desire to be.
Away from that, the British Council in Accra hosted the 5th UK Alumni Awards in Ghana, celebrating outstanding international UK alumni who've made significant contributions to their communities, industries, and countries. Speaking at the ceremony, British Council Country Director to Ghana, Nidodu Dodu, made some revelations. Let's take a listen.
The 5th UK Alumni Awards in Ghana celebrates outstanding UK-educated alumni who have made a significant impact in their communities, industries, and countries. Recognizing excellence in business, culture, science, and social action, the awards highlight leaders driving innovation and positive change. Speaking at the ceremony in Accra, British Council Country Director Nidodu Dodu noted that the event not only honors individuals, but also strengthens UK-Ghana relations.
The Steady UK Alumni Awards highlight the strength of a UK education and its power to inspire leadership and change. Through these awards, we do not only recognize individual accomplishments, but also reaffirm the enduring bond between Ghana and the UK.
UNESCO Country Director Edward Mukala encouraged finalists and awardees to leverage modern tools to address contemporary challenges.
And one of the things that I want really to say that it is really playing to your advantages, it is the fact that you have also the technology, whether it's artificial intelligence, also bringing in is some of the tools that we did not have when we were like you in those times. And so while the challenges are right there, but also a lot of opportunity really for you to come, innovate, transform, and really create a better world. So the hopes remains, but it's really, I'm almost saying, it's coming out of our shoulders and back out into you. And we're looking onto you where we have failed. We're really looking that you will be the one that will really bring the changes and the transformation.
The event drew several high-profile attendees, including the president of the Ghana Bar Association, the acting CEO of the Ghana Export-Import Bank, and the press secretary to the vice president. Collins Frimpont reports for Joy News.
Well, thank you for staying with us. It's a wrap for the bulletin. My name is Sweetie Aboshi, but do log on to myjoyonline.com for more news stories and to keep you updated. Thank you for watching. It's bye for now.